Right, everyone, have you seen the film A Knight's Tale? So I'm going to connect this to the samurai. But first of all, I just want to say I produced a book called The Book of Bushido. Literally as much information as I can get on Bushido, and that's now for pre-order on Amazon, and it'll be out whenever the release date is there. But basically, you can go and pre-order it now. Right, in what's it called? In The Knight's Tale, there's the bad knight and the good knight. Heath Ledger's the sort of good knight, and then you get his sort of a counterpart who is the evil one. And at one stage, the counterpart has to go to war, and he's at war, and he's got like a table there, and they're in a military map. But you can tell a sort of servant comes over and says to him, "Here's the actual records, reports, charts, whatever you want to call them, for who's doing the best at jousting this year." So when he's looking at it, and Heath Ledger's character, which is von Liechtenstein, which is actually a real knight, or was a real knight, is going up the charts, the league table, if you like, and he's like, bang, with his knife, damn. And it got me thinking about battle circuits and that type of thing within samurai law, samurai history. Excuse me, for some reason I can't speak or think of words today. I've got a bit of a headache, actually. So, right, what I mean by this is, in the old jousting, Western knights used to joust. They used to do the circuit and everything. So basically, they'd go to York for jousting. They'd go to London for jousting and all this. Exactly like, A Knight's Tale. I don't think they quite danced like that. It's very modern. But you know what I mean. You get the idea. And bit by bit, knights are meeting each other. We know all the taverns are full of knight shields, and there's no room left in the inn because everybody's sort of there doing their stuff. The jousts are going round. A couple of people might die. People are becoming famous. It's like sports stars of the day. People are in the lists, in the sort of lists and all that, and they're all having a great time. And knights will know each other, and they'll party with each other, and they'll drink with each other, and they'll get to interact with each other, and there'll be people with different dialects from all over the country all chatting. Now the question is was this the same in Japan? And I actually don't know. I don't know if there's a direct, what you could say is, tournament in Japan. We have the dog shooting stuff where people go around dog shooting, but in the Sengoku period, was there anything that samurai went about testing their combat? I don't think so. I can't find anything, but maybe you guys know more than me on that. Let's try and find some comments below. But basically, what it does lead us to is that you've got to imagine in medieval times, especially in warring periods, not just Japan, there's like freebooters going around and privateers and men at arms, and they're all going with groups. Like, imagine you're Robin Hood in the middle with his men, his merry men, and there's Little John and all this, and they stake as groups. So if you've seen the film Robin Hood by, oh God, come on, Anthony. Whatever the director's called. Ridley Scott, is it? And basically, merry men, Robin and his merry men, are a little band inside of the army, and the army's made up of little bands of men. And we know that's the same for samurai. A samurai army is a conglomerate. So basically, you can get one section of the conglomerate moves to fight for another lord, and they might be fighting against their mates from last week. And in the Sengoku period, every so often battles are happening, and people at Ronin are on the move. This idea of Ronin, like, the single samurai with a stick in his mouth, it's fiction, basically. That's not really true. Ronin used to be totally okay. You'd go from master to master, and people went in bands, and you'd get a captain of the men. So imagine like freebooter samurai going round, and if you know what I'm talking about, the orcs, freebooter samurai, if you know what I'm talking about, basically are going round, and they've got a captain. Like, we've got one, I know of one thing, which is, I think is actually in the book of Bushido. So there's one thing there where, I think they're from Kai, one section of hired mercenary samurais from Takeda province are actually moving around, and there's 100 of them, and just one of them steals the head off someone. So actually, I think it's Tokugawa Ieyasu who's hired like this retinue of freebooters, dismisses them all and says, nope, one of you stole the head, that wasn't yours, you're fired, all of you. And he gets rid of 100. So imagine 100 lads now stop getting paid, and they have to go off to find the next war. So what we find is, I love this idea especially from the Western tradition, that there are circuits of warriors going round. And I mean circuits literally in a circle, you know, so people are doing the circuit. And the same happens for samurai. Imagine it's 1560 and the war's starting going on, and the rise of Nobunaga and all that sort of stuff, and we're getting up to Tokugawa Ieyasu and Hideyoshi's there, and everybody's sort of growing up in this, and the battles are happening, and we all see Japan as like the major battle is here and the major battle is there, but there's loads of skirmishes going on, revolts, peasant revolts, skirmishes, and what you're going to have is bands of armed men moving from countryside to countryside, and they actually are being hired by other people. So for me, that is awesome, that you'll get like this band of men over here, and they'll know that other band of men will come across and be, all right, mate, how's it going? Obviously, they're all bowing and all that, but, you know, it's like, all right, mate, from Manchester, how's it going? You know what I mean? Like, having a bit of a laugh. So, you know, but they'll have their own accents going around. Oh, it's George from York, you know, here we go. Oh, it's Bob from Osaka, let's have a chat with him. Or it might be an enemy you hate, like in A Knight's Tale, and they hate each other. So we must have this idea that that's lost to history. It's lost. As far as I'm concerned, maybe we'll find it, I don't know, you'd have to have a serious look for that. But there's this lost element of history where there were knights, samurai, warriors, whatever you want to call, wherever they are in the world, moving around the military circuit, pack horses, tents, off they go, they've got enough gold, they've got a chest of gold, and the captain's paying for the men to stay in the inn. Right, guys, the chest of gold is running low. And we know in Japan that they used to put coins in paper, so the captain somewhere must have had coins wrapped in paper inside maybe a box somewhere, or a bag being carried, protected by the lads, and then they took turns guarding it, and then they move on to the next war and they get the booty, and then is it like Skyrim? They get the sword and they go to the local place. I'm not very good with computer games, guys. I hate computer games. I think they look great, but I'm crap at them. So I'm like, So basically, I watched a mate play Skyrim and I tried it. And you go like and I love fantasy, don't get me wrong. I know what it's about. I just rubbish at games. But basically, you go and to the tavern or whatever, I'm selling my sword. So was it like they were looting the swords and selling them on to second-hand lenders? And we know there's a massive sword market, second-hand sword market, money lending, sword markets, exchange, barts, all this going on, but it seems to have disappeared from the historical record. But we know it must go on, because what happens to all the swords on the battlefield when people are picking them up? They go somewhere. Somebody's clearly selling them. So, and then are they being bought up and shipped off? What's happening with all this stuff? Because the idea that the samurai sword is really like expensive and it's not a reality. Samurai had multiple swords just in their rooms, like, oh, I'll use this one today, you know what I mean? It was later on swords became a very expensive commodity, because I've said this before, it's like a car. Cars are extremely expensive. You ever bought a new car? I've not. It's too expensive. But I've had about 20 cars in my life, maybe about 15, and I've never bought a brand new car, but I could afford to buy 15 cars in my lifetime, because they're usually crap and old. Last about 2 years or a year. I buy some right bangers. And basically they die a death and I go and get another one, because, you know, you spend like a month or 2 months wages on it, you know, a couple of grand, or not even that, to be honest. I've like bought cars for about 800 quid. And I hate cars. I don't understand people who sit there polishing the car or checking for scratches. Like, dink. I prefer Dodgems and stock cars. So you just don't, you know, I'm not there. So back to knights. You got me on a rant then. So basically, knights, samurai, wherever you are in the world, we have these circuits. And what can anyone think of any good things to say, to find, to think of in the comments on, and some of my shinobi soldiers out there will start asking you and saying, so if you've got something good, they will find it and send it to me, so don't worry. I don't have time to read the comments anymore, but basically if you put something good in there, it'll get sent to me. Right, that's about it, guys. If you are interested in Samurai Ways, do get the Book of Bushido. It is going to be mint. I really hope it at the minute. So in fact, let me show you at the minute. Here it is. This is me editing it. It's up for pre-order and it starts here, and basically it goes back to the editor. The editor will finish it. I'm asking the infamous, famous one YouTuber to double check some stuff for me. I'll tell you more about that later if he agrees to it. And basically, it will be out. So pre-order it. Please pre-order it. They love it. All right, guys, coming up for 10 minutes. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments below.